Okay, apparently it's showtime. Hello, bonjour. My name is DeniseWillerton. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in East St. Paul, Manitoba, Canada. Um, we are working on our 8x8 album and getting that covered with beautiful paper. So I hope you join me tonight. Let me know where you're looking from and or where you're watching from, and let's get going. So far we've got the covered, and we've got page one. We have a pocket here and a place for photo mats or photos. Okay, we've got our flip out, and you could hear actually that magnet. I love that sound. Here we've got another little pocket here. So that's page one, what I call page one front. This is page one back. Another, oh, I didn't make a photo there. I keep thinking it's a photo, but there's a place for journaling here. Hello, Judy, welcome here. And then some more spots for pictures. And then here's my Owen, and that's also magnetized. And so that is a pocket on the back side of this. And there's no other pockets, but a place right here. So if I took Owen's picture, you could see how there's a spot there for a nice big picture if that's what I decide to do. I haven't populated this with pictures yet. Or this spread here, you could do something like I did here. You could have like a journaling spot. Can you hear me, or did that cut me out here? Let me get my focus on here. There we go. Can you hear me? Can you still hear me? Judy, can you hear me? I am back. Okay, thank you. My phone rang. I put it on silence. I forgot to do that. Here we've got another pocket. And so here is where we're at. So we're going to remove this picture from Owen because I want this kind of page here to flow. I've got this in front of me to remind me to brush my pages. Thank you, Judy. Now let's get going. So we've got these fly fish on that side. So, I mean, we technically could pull that in and bring some browns actually into that page, which I'm actually not minding. But I just want to take inventory and see what I've got. So if we're going to pull some browns, we could even do a wood grain, like a brown wood grain. So if we did, you know what I want to do? Let's move to the inside first. I think that might be easier. I actually want to show you a little something. This could actually fit right there. Let's see. And a little bit of that would be showing. I don't mind that at all. Kathy Penner, there you are. Hello. So we're going to decorate this pocket. I'm going to show you something that you can do. Okay. So I hate to cover this because I absolutely love this. Let's get our white happening in here so I can see where I am. And Kathy, I can't remember if you have watched some of this before. So Judy, Kathy is a friend of mine who lives down the street, and she actually came to this class live. And so I quickly sent her a text saying, I'm going live. I'm covering the book. Come and watch. So there's my cut mark because I'm too lazy to measure. And there's my cut mark here. So rather than cutting, you cannot see what I'm doing. So I've got a cut mark here and I've got a cut mark right here. Okay. So rather than cutting this great big long strip, we're going to cut this first because then this way I've got a bigger piece sitting there for other elements, other pockets or other goodies. So let's cut that first. We'll tuck that back into our box, and then we're going to cut this strip. And that strip sometimes comes in handy. You never know. It might be too small for anything. I think it is. So there's that. And I want to do a dry fit. And I like that. I could have cut a little less off, but you know what? It will be just fine. I hung up on my sister. Is that terrible or what? I'll have to call her back. You know what? Let me just quickly message her. Yes, I am at about, sorry girls. Okay. So that just explains to my sister why I hung up on her. I said, sorry, I am right in the middle of a class. So we're going to dust our edge or sponge our edge, whatever you want to call it. And it just finishes it beautifully. So if you are interested in this class, I have a PDF tutorial waiting for you, as well as a step-by-step video on how to put this book together. Okay, so that is nicely dusted. And I have a feeling that I need to lift that up. Okay. I feel like I am just way too close to everything. Okay. Here is my new favorite tool. Okay, you know these big silicone mats? This one, when I'm working on albums, is too small. So I went into the kitchen and I pulled that one out because I never use it anyway. Do you do Visa? I think I have the ability to do Visa, Judy. I have Square, so because of that, I think I can do Visa. Because not everybody does e-transfer, correct? Is that why you are asking? Oh, I wanted to do something different with this. Next time I do a pocket, actually, you know what? Maybe I can do it right here. And normally, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this off. Normally, I like to have, no, I'm not going to get it off. I like to have my design paper kind of tucked into my pocket. It's not going to happen this time. So the design paper here is just going to have a little bit of a black border. But I need to get some of these pencil marks off because they're going to show up. Normally when I have a pocket, I like to have my design paper tuck into my pocket before I put my pocket down. So let's just get all of that off. Like so. Now I want to keep in mind that when I close this flap, this little piece of design paper is going to be showing. So I want that to kind of flow nicely. So we could stay with the browns. 6x6 is not going to work. And that is not going to work. I need to stay in the blues or the browns. That is, woo, too busy. Something that I can do though, that I'm just thinking about right now, we could, no, I don't want to do that because there's going to be a strip of it showing there. So let me see what I've got. Blues and browns. I really like this. I really like that. I really, really do. I'm hesitating because I don't want to cut off these fly fish, but you know what? Let's see what happens here. I've got a whole bunch of design paper surrounding me here, ladies. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we've got. I've got this. And let's pull out that's not going to work. Let's pull out the rest of this. That could potentially work. I made it too. Woohoo. Oh, yes, Wendy. Yes, you made it too. You are here. I'm so glad you are here. I am. Ooh, I think I really like this. I like how it's pulling that brown in. Let's cut it. And if I decide I don't like it, I don't have to use it. I'm going to put this under here so I can see where I'm working. Wendy, how are you doing? There's my cut line there on that side. And then right here, I'm going to put my cut line right there. So I need my big cutter. That's so cute, cheering each other on. This is a super beautiful wood grain as well. So there's my first cut line. You know what? You're going to have to pardon the look here. I got home 20 minutes ago. Dina and I went for a cross-country ski. And I said, I'll see you later. I got to get downstairs. I am doing a live. I hope I didn't cut that too small. Look how beautiful this wood grain is. I love it. I love both sides of this. Okay, don't forget to brush. And brushing this, if I decide to do this white grain here, brushing that is actually going to kind of tone it down a little bit. So when we close this flap, that's what we're going to be looking at. I don't mind that. And it would help if I was in camera. It would definitely help if I am in camera. I feel like I'm super far back. Why is that? How is that? Like I don't mind this at all. I'm going for it. Oh my goodness, Wendy, you are very sweet. You are very sweet to say that. Girls, hang on. I'm going to bring this camera up just a smidge because I feel like I am too close to my work and you're not seeing the whole thing. Okay, here we go. Look at me remembering to brush. Now, see how stark this looks? When I brush the edges, it's just going to tone that right down. And I mean, I could even bring some of this right in to the design paper as well. Don't let me put glue on here. I want to do something. Let me pull something out. I'm going to pull this out right away so that I remember. Yeah, we went for a cross-country ski through Birds Hill Park, and it was lovely. Had our headlamps on so we could see where we were going. Now I'm going to work this corner a little bit and really get some dark in there. Love it. And let's do a little bit more dark right here on the opposing side. And even come in. See how pretty that looks? I love it. I love it. Okay. Now, ooh, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? I'm feeling like because there's a pocket here, I don't know that is that going to work? You know what? I'm not going to do it. Here's what I was going to do though. Is the brushing always done with this? No, you know what? It's not. I did Katie's baby album. I didn't do it at all, but I did a boy album in, here's a blast from the past, in Bashful Blue. And so I sponged it with Bashful Blue. So let's say my book was a green or just an entirely blue book. You could brush it with that. If you want it nice and soft, you can do smoky slate just to kind of cover the white edges, okay? If that's making sense. Anyway, what I was going to do here was, let's say I was covering this pocket. You would come in here and you would decide like about here to the side, and you would punch a hole, and you could punch another hole just to make the hole a little bit longer. And then when you put your adhesive down, you would put adhesive down like here, here, here. You would avoid the hole, okay? You'd put a little bit at the top of the hole, a little bit down the side, the hole is here, and then a little bit along the edge. And then when you put this down, you've got this hole here. And because we didn't put any adhesive underneath it, it actually doubles as another little pocket, okay? Which is really cool. But doing that up here when I have a pocket down here, because what I wanted to do was pocket here and then a hole here with another little tuck space, okay? And I forgot. Seriously. Me forget? How is that possible? Let's get adhesive on here. So again, if I had a hole on here, and we are going to pretend that my little hole is right there. This is what I would do. I would put my adhesive down. I would avoid all of this space because that becomes my tuck space. But because I don't have a hole, we're going to cover. Next time I have a pocket, if I remember, I will do a tuck space, okay? So this is going to go down right here. And let's get this out, which I forgot to do there. And let's get that glue all nicely. So for those that did purchase this album, these classes are great for just kind of going back and looking to see what I've done. Now, if there is an interest, I could even start a Zoom class for those that purchase the album, and they just want to get together and Zoom together while they cover their albums and just bounce ideas off of each other. And there would just be a small little fee for that to help me cover the cost of Zoom. Okay, so now that is done. Okay, that's a pocket. So let's work on this flap. And I think on here, I think I really like the idea of the fly fish again. I love that. Okay. And then maybe what we'll do is we'll find, could you make a pocket on top of the DSP? I could. So what I would do is I would have to double this up. I would go something like that, Wendy. But you know what we could do? We could do a little tuck space on here, and I will show you that. So let's flip this over, and I want to decide which way I want to cut it. Do I want to cut that off or this? And I think I'm going to cut it this way because I like the idea of having this great big long. So sometimes when you're cutting your design paper, you want to keep in mind the way you're cutting it. Oh, and directional. This one is not directional, so keep that in mind too. So I'm flipping this over. I absolutely adore that side. I'm flipping that over just so that I can do my pencil marks and not have to worry about them. So rather than, I've got a pencil mark here and I've got a pencil mark here. So rather than cutting this strip first, I'm going to cut that strip first. Okay. So it's that whole adage, measure twice, cut once. Which way are the fly fish? And you know what? I don't think they're directional. I don't think this is a directional piece because I've got hooks going. Yeah, I've got hooks going everywhere, but that's a perfect question. Okay, so there's that one long cut mark, which gives me a beautiful another piece because I love this side. Wendy, I love this paper. I can't thank you enough for it. Let's tuck that away. And now here is a smaller piece. Okay, do my dry fit. And love it. Let's remember to brush that. Don't you love this, how that looks? So you want to keep in mind when you are decorating your album that you open your book as you go, okay? Now, oftentimes, before I even start cutting things, I really think through what I'm going to do. I don't agonize. I don't, because it always comes together. If you ever get an email from me, you'll notice that above my signature, I think I have something like, have a blessed day. And then underneath that, I have trust the paper. This is what I mean by trust the paper, because we can agonize. And then at the end, when you put it all together, it's like, it looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. I so regret having not ordered this, Wendy. But I can't clean out your stash. There will be other fish papers that come up, I'm sure. We've got our spring catalog coming before we know it. I will scoop it up. And I should have known better, you know. We're a fishing family. Let's get these corners nicely sooted. Okay, so that's going to go down right there. And you know what? Let's do a tuck. Let's do a tuck right there. So if my book stands this way, and it doesn't matter which way the tuck goes actually, but I want to do the tuck from the top. Now this can only go so far, and it's actually really good if when you're doing your tuck that you go to the bottom of your punch, because then when I cut this, like when I punch this out, let's go ahead and punch it. I want to give myself some good space on the side. Punch that out. And because I was butted right up against and inside, I know when I pull forward to make my tuck a little bit bigger, I'm going to be square. Okay. So there's my tuck. And so once that goes down, what do I have here? I might want it even a little bit bigger. How wide is that? It's 3 inches. You know what? Let's just go a smidge more. Okay. So we're going to go right in. I can't go any deeper. And let's just take a little bit more off. And if you're ever looking to create like arrows, that's how you would do it, is with this punch. You would just continue punching. And so here's a longer arrow, you know, follow the arrow. That's actually kind of cute. I don't mind that one bit. So here's our tuck right there. And it would fit a smaller picture. So see, there's a tuck. Now I don't want all of that to not have adhesive on it, because I don't want whatever I tuck in there to fall to the very bottom. Yes, this is a great punch. You can also use this punch to make a tuck. So any punch that's long and narrow. What else do I have here? That's about it that I brought forward. I probably have something up there in my shelf. But yes, any punch that is kind of like that would make a great tuck spot. Now, because I've got this hole here, let's sponge that. Let's sponge that edge too. Okay. This is why I'm learning. I've only been doing this for like 18 years, but this is why I'm learning. Keep this kind of stuff, your sponge, kind of in your face. Now see how nice that looks with it sponged like that? But I want to place my glue along the top, down the sides, back up to the top. I want my tuck to be nicely secured at the top and on the sides. I don't want that going anywhere. Okay, and I probably want my pocket, or my tuck, we'll call it, about yay deep. Make sense? Okay. Now, hopefully, none of that glue is going to ooze out. I don't want to place glue here because then I'm closing my tuck. You could put a journaling page also. I mean, yes, exactly, Judy. Exactly. Yep. Which is probably a really sweet idea. Ah, you know what? Erase that. Just in case that is showing through on the tuck. On the tuck. Wendy says, I'd like to do the Zoom thing for the out. Yeah, that would be very fun. Judy or Wendy, have you started creating your album? Because I know you purchased the bundle. And I've got glue oozing out right there. Where is my... Let's clean that up right away. I was a little generous. I think I was pretty excited about the whole tuck thing. Okay. Let's get... Ah, look at... I was so excited about this tuck. Let's get that picked up. And a lot of times, if you know, and I should have done this because I kind of knew I had put too much glue down, you don't have to put your piece down right away. You can wait and let it set a little bit. Okay. And now I'm going to bring it down this way. I'm trying to avoid that area there. Okay, so I'm bringing the glue away from that area, and let's bring the glue away from this area. And I'm going to create a little journal thing here, just like Wendy had suggested. I think that's a great idea. Let's clean that up. A dried up baby wipe works really well for cleaning out, for cleaning up edges of oozed glue. I was super generous on this one. I don't know why, other than being excited, I guess. Okay. I love this spread. I'm loving it so much. What a fun fish page. Now I'm quite sticky here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, like it still feels wet, sticky. I'm going to wait and I'm going to use my eraser just to clean that up. But let's find a journaling page, and I think I've got a scrap of it somewhere in here. I should keep my journaling pages separate. Okay. I think that was my scrap. That is super cool. So let's flip that over and let's trim it right there to about probably, oh, you know what? It needs to stick out a bit. Well, let's go long. Let's go long first because I think, I don't know how deep that is. Let's find out. How deep did I go? How deep did I go? I went to right there. So if I cut at least that tall, I think that would look cool. Okay, so let's just go Well, I don't mind. I don't mind where I had already decided. That was Judy who suggested that. Oh, Judy. Yes, the journaling page. Thank you for that. Okay, so there is one cut mark. There's a beautiful little piece of journaling for something. Oh, you know what? I didn't check direction. I didn't check direction. Okay. And we pivot. Let's not go upside down with this one, Denise. This is our depth-ish. So let's cut to about here. And this is our width. I'm going to erase these marks. Okay. My journaling page, and we're going to sponge that edge. So this ends up being about 3.5 inches wide. And it's going to be about, I don't mind if I go a little bit longer. Let's go 3 7/8. 3 7/8. We're going to erase our pencil mark and that one. And because this is a tuck, I'm not going to cut those edges with my with that. Ouch, my shelf fell. Because they're just, all of these little ends are going to get hung up. Okay. I'm glad I didn't break my punches. That was bad. And we're going to do, because one of the punches that fell also gave me an idea. And so I even journal in the middle of all of the soot. Judy, thank you for this idea. I think it's fabulous. Now, because I'm not popping that edge, I'm feeling like I want a little something more. I think I want that just not quite as wide. Let's go 3 1/4 instead of 3 1/2. I'm just feeling like, yeah, I like that better. Okay. So here are the 2 punches that fell off my shelf. We can either do a whale tail on there. Let's see. Let's find a smaller piece. That's going to be too small. So if I did this one, I just want to see. Get in there. There we go. So we've got that as a pull, or I need something a tiny bit wider. That could possibly work. Okay. So now on the top, we're just going to fold that in half, and we're going to fold that in half. We can put a little pull tab on the top of this, or a whale punch. So which one do I want? I think I'm gravitating to the whale punch. I think I'm gravitating to this one. Or this is called a whale tail, I think is what they call it. So I would straighten that up a little bit and give it a nicer burnish. So that it was nicely flat. Yeah, I think so too, Kathy. And then what I'm going to do before it goes down, see how there's a little bit of white showing? If we sponge all of that, so then if something is peeking through, it's not going to show quite as much. I just felt like that it just needed something. It needed help. And you know what? Let's just help that along. And sponge that side. Okay. See how that just finishes it off? And it kind of says pull. The whale tail, Wendy? Yep. I'm going to sponge that too. I'm going to sponge that too. So let's take that off. Always work on a silicone mat. Go into your kitchen, find one of these. It's great. If you don't have one, you know what? I bet you the dollar store has them. And so we're going to kind of eyeball center. Okay, so I'm going to put just on the smile. Let's not be too generous like you were last time. Just on the smile and then on the smile. Now, if you ever feel like you're afraid that you've put too much glue down, just set it aside. Let it rest for a bit and it'll take care of that oozing. Okay? These are great. And the whale punch or whale tail is great for your pull-out mats as well. Are you going to sponge that too? Yeah, Wendy, I think you're talking about the whale tail. I like it as well. Oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. Like this one is just a little more curvy, right? And this one here just kind of says, arr, arr. So if I start on this side, I am just matching up kind of that very edge of that whale tail. I got glue on my fingers. Keep that away. There's glue on there now. And then I'm just going to fold. Ooh. Let's journal on both sides. You can't have, mind you, this could be, no, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. So that's just going to go down like that. And I need to sponge this side too. Well, Gail, hello, you joined us as well. We're just about wrapping up here for the evening, but I'm glad you came. So we're going to just soot this one up. I re-inked my early espresso, and I'm getting very generous with my sooting here. Okay, so that looks really funny, but watch what happens when you give this blank piece of paper purpose. Let's give it a purpose. So Gail, have you been working on your album? Because Gail is another young lady that took this class. So this blank piece has purpose. Place photo here. Okay? So this design paper, Gail, I'm not sure when you popped in, but this design paper, we punched it out using this. You'll have to go back and take a look. on how I did that. I was like super generous with my glue. You know what I should have done right here? Instead of glue right here, I should have used tear and tape. Definitely. So the next time I do a tuck, I am going to use tear and tape. It's coming. It's amazing how this just lifts the glue off. You can feel, yeah, it's almost all gone. Okay, so there is our little tuck, and that goes in right like that. And then on this page, you could do something like that, right? I would cut the white off, and I would just do something like that. So there's that spread, except for we haven't done the inside flap, okay? So this is where I think I want to pull this in again, okay? Where did I get that? I don't recall. Maybe that was part of... Maybe that was part of the Let's Go Fishing design paper. Where did I put that packet? There it is. There it is. Let's see what we have in here. Yeah, that, and so we're calling this a tuck, okay? So that's a tuck spot. So you're definitely going to have to go back and see how I did the tuck spot. There's that blue. Okay, so it's the other side of the blue fish. And why is it that I don't have any scrap of that? Because you think I would. I must have not placed it in my bin, which is odd. So I have a bin, and this is where all my scraps go as I cut. Okay, there's some of it. So I must have used that blue elsewhere in here. But I definitely want that to be right here. And you know what? Let's do another tuck. Okay, so Gail, you'll be able to see how we do a tuck. So I've got, on this side here, I've got the grain going that way. Let's just be rebellious and have the grain go this way, okay? So we're going to flip it over. I'm going to put my white paper behind me so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm not working black against black where you're a little bit blinded. You're going to make your pencil mark here. And we're also going to make a pencil mark down here, okay? Now here is another really good example of how to cut your paper. Yeah, you know what? This is not Country Woods. The Country Woods is more in the Coastal Cabana-ish type. So now that I've got my pencil mark here, I want to make sure that I'm in camera. I've got one pencil mark here, and I've got one pencil mark here, okay? So you're going to look at this, and you're going to kind of surmise which way you want to cut. Do I want a long strip this way, or do I want a long strip that way? There's no right or wrong, but sometimes it does matter. Now, if I cut this way first, I'm going to end up with a bigger continuous piece. So I'm going to cut it there first. Did that make any sense to anybody? I know in my French mind, it makes sense. So let's find our cut mark, or you can measure if you would rather. That gets tucked away into my bin. And my other cut mark is right here. And that gets tucked away into the bin. Okay? So Gail, are you still here? Here is how we do our tuck spot. First, I want to do a dry fit. I always do a dry fit. I want to make sure that I did cut properly. And I like that, and I did. So that's going to go down right there. Okay, you're going to grab your punch. You have a punch like this, or you can have a punch like that, okay? It doesn't matter which one you use. Ouch. That was just my cutter. It fell off the shelf. So either punch that you use, the concept is going to be the same. So let's use a different punch this time. Okay. So what you do is, as far as the punch goes in, it doesn't go any further. Okay. So don't decide to cut here. You want to go as far as the punch goes in, so that when you cut it wider, you know that you're going to be at the same depth. So I'm going to cut here. I'm going to cut here. So I know that I am perfectly straight. And how long is that? Do I want to go even further? That is about 3 1/4. And you know what? Let's just go a smidge longer, because then I'll be kind of equal distance on both sides. Now, because I went right to the bottom where it didn't go any further, I know that that this tuck hole is going to be straight. Okay, so there we go. There's our tuck. But now we want to sponge our edges. Sponge our edges. And we're also going to sponge our tuck spot. Okay, so why don't we start with that? Let's just sponge our tuck spot. And then we're going to call it a night when this one is done. And I'm going to go hang with my husband. We had such a good ski. We did not see any wildlife, but we had a good ski. If you choose, when you do your album, if you choose not to sponge, that is okay. It's your album. You get to do whatever you like. I love the sponged look. I feel, for me, that it just finishes it like I feel like it hugs the paper or something. Okay. It was so beautiful skiing at night. You've got your headlights, your headlamp on, and the forest is black all around you. And all you see is straight ahead with your headlight. It was so fun. So you can do a tuck spot on a big place like this. You can do a tuck spot on a pocket, okay, right here. And I meant to do that here, and I totally forgot. So that that URL at the bottom is just if anybody is interested in purchasing this. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that form, and I am going to also ask a question about if anybody wants Zoom classes. Okay, so let's tuck that away. Now down this goes. Now when you're putting down your tuck spot design paper, yeah, Gail, this is the third page. This is page 3 front. Okay. So with that tuck spot, let's just say, for instance, that the tuck spot was going here. I think you can see that. There's pencil mark. You want to make sure that you erase that. Okay. So now we want to put this down. Because this is a tuck, okay, you're going to put adhesive at the top of the tuck spot. I need a ruler. Okay. And we're going to use tear and tape because I don't want my glue oozing into my tuck spot. Super important. Okay. You want a nice big silicone mat when you're working. You can get something like that at the dollar store. Okay. So we're going to put our adhesive on the edge of the design paper, on the edge. And then we're going to go straight down. There's my tuck spot. We're going to go straight down. You have to avoid this area. Here's our tuck spot. I don't know if you can see that with my silicone mat. There's our tuck spot right here. If you put glue here, you've just eliminated your tuck spot. So you don't want your tuck spot so deep unless you want a really big, a really big piece of something that's going in there. But I'm going to bring my adhesive to about here. Okay, so tuck spot, tear and tape at the top, liquid glue around the edges, or you could do tear and tape, and then liquid glue following the line of that tuck spot. Leave this empty. You will be in serious trouble if you don't, because then you're going to have a tuck spot in the middle of your page. You know what? I think, Kathy, I hear what you're saying, but I think because it's Stampin' Up! Design paper, it's pretty, like, it's not junky, but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. And I mean, if that does worry you, what you can do is you can double up the design paper onto another piece of cardstock and then place that down into your book. Okay. You don't want your tuck spot. You don't want your tuck spot. What was I going to say here? I'm losing my track of thought here. You don't want what you're tucking into your tuck spot really tight. Okay. That's why I actually cut my little journal page a little bit smaller on the other side. So now I've got tear and tape here and I've got liquid glue here. I don't want to push my glue that way. I want to push my glue this way towards the outer portion of my card, or of my book. I'm watching to see if there's any ooze. And if there's ooze, you clean it up right away. Okay. Come straight across. There's a little bit of ooze. Clean it up right away. Don't wait. Okay. Now, same thing. I don't want to pull this way because I don't want to pull this liquid glue that way. I want to come down this way, away from my tuck spot. Okay, and I could have pulled this design paper in a little bit because I don't really have, there's a little bit of ooze right there. I don't have a whole lot of my page showing, but that's okay. I think for me, because I want things done and I want things done well, but I don't tend to be, and there's nothing wrong with this because we're all different and we're all beautiful in our own way. I'm not a perfectionist, you know, so I don't agonize over things like some people do, and it's okay if they do. Okay, Kathy, you are so welcome. I'm going to take just a piece of scrap that was hanging around. I want to see how deep my pocket is. Okay, so I know I could go about here. Okay, we're going to pop in another journal page. So I'm going to measure, and I don't want this super wide, and I know that I am approximately that deep right here. Okay, so rather than cutting a long strip this way, I'm going to cut this way first so I have a bigger piece, and then I'll have a smaller piece. Otherwise, what happens is if I cut here, I've got this long piece, and then this is going to be that wide. If I cut this first, I've got a nice big piece. Make sense? So I always look at my cut marks and decide which way I want to cut first. Okay, and then we're going to use the whale punch again. Let's just bring this up just a tinch because I'm okay with it being a tinch longer. And we're going to test that. There's our tuck. There's our tuck. Okay, let's erase that pencil mark. Tuck those away. You always want to erase your pencil mark before you sponge because it's harder to erase it after the fact. Okay, so let's ink that up. So who likes the tuck? Yep, tear and tape. Wendy, thank you. And you know what? I didn't even look up. Did you take the tear and tape off? Did you take the tear and tape off? I did. Wendy, I think I know what you're asking. Yeah, did I? Yep, I did. All of a sudden I'm like, whoa, did I take that tear and tape off? You know what? I did. There it is. All this, because then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I didn't. So even though this is a little journaling page, I don't mind that it's got all of this sootiness all over it. And I mean, if you don't want it that dark, you're just going to sponge with a lighter color. This is a boy's book, okay? We want another whale tail, and I loved the black. So let's grab, who still has their whale tail? I mean, look how old mine is. I think I had this before my even Stampin' Up days, because this is, yeah, this is not even, oh, it is Stampin' Up. Okay, so I've probably had this for like 19 years. Okay, yeah. And let's, while I'm thinking about it, sponge this side as well. And you could double up on, this could be a journaling page on both sides, which, let's see, maybe that's what I'll do if I have the right, I don't have the right size. So we're not going to. We're going to grab our place photo here. And it doesn't matter which is the top or the bottom. So if you were creating this album as a gift, whoopsie, I'm sorry, you're going to use that, or you could just handwrite it. Place photo here. And then they know what they're supposed to be doing with everything. Okay, let's get this nice and inked so none of that white stuff is showing through. And we're just going to lay that down on there like we did last time. Find center. I'm quite dirty. Flip that over. Find center. And again, when you're working with ink or with glue, always work on your silicone mat. Okay, we're going to put a little smile of glue down here and a little smile of it down here. I feel like I've got a lot, so let's just let that sit for a moment. So the ooze factor is gone. And then what I like to do is I like to start this way. So what I'm looking for is the top of my mat. I want that to kind of butt right here. Look how dirty my hands are. I like it to butt right there. Okay, so here's the whale tail. I like it to be even on that side, and that side is what I look for. I was stalling, could you tell? So I'm kind of eyeballing center, and I am lining up that right there, and then it just naturally falls where it belongs. Okay, so there is our second tuck. Okay, so then again here we've got this nice big spot. You can do something like this. Okay, if you were giving it away as a gift, you can do that. Like, you can put photos everywhere. That's the whole idea, right? Here's another spot right there. And there we go. There's Owen on his fishing trip, right? So that is page 3 front. So let's see what we've done. Okay, I forgot to sponge that. That just came across loud and clear the second I opened it up. So let's just, now that's the cut that I was talking about when I did the tuck, right, into our tuck spot. I don't necessarily want something like that in a tuck spot because it's going to get hung up. Okay, so this is what happens when you forget to sponge, and then when you decide that you want sponging on your book. Okay, so here's a pocket, here's a magnet. None of this has been sponged. I'll just take the time and do that tomorrow. Here is a flap. Here's a pocket. You can put a photo mat here or just place a big old picture there. You know what, Wendy? All of these albums turn out so beautiful once you get the design paper on them, because you just make, like, the design paper just pulls it together. And you can see, like, already I've got, like, these are two different, these are two entirely different packs, okay? So here's another magnet. There's a pocket here. A nice big spot for another photo, or, you know, two small photos or two big photos, right? Like, you could, that, it's amazing. It's just, I can't wait to put the pictures in here. So that is page 1 front, page 1 back. This is page 2 front, page 2 back. Right here, what we were just working on, or what we worked on before. This is page 3 front. We've got a tuck, we've got a pocket, and we've got another tuck. Okay, it's still a little bit sticky in there, and probably what you can do is, if you did your embossing buddy, or you put powder on these pull-out mats, the stickiness is gone. Okay, so that's page 3 front with the pocket. And when we come back, this will be page 3 back that we're going to work on. Okay, so thank you for hanging with me for an hour and 20-ish minutes. It's been a blast. I love doing this with you girls. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will see you Thursday morning during my 10 a.m. Central Standard Time live. Still not 100% sure what I'm doing, but we'll figure that out. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy yourself. And if you are interested in this album class, drop me a line. I can be reached at simply my name @gmail.com. We'll talk to you later. Have a blessed weekend. It's almost here. Bye-bye.